Okay, here we go. Thank you. Yeah, so when I first started this group, I wanted to make space for the motherly presence to come through in the Providence, especially just to feel connected with True Mother. And especially, I felt like women leaders, making space for them to connect with True Mother. And so it's kind of been a journey to figure out the best space and use of this time. I've given different talks and presentations and given insights and updates in the Providence that I know are happening. And then we've, kind of discussed and shared together. But after being in Korea at the Channelguk Leaders meeting, I shared some content, which was, I think, very eye-opening for a lot of us. And I've honestly been on a real spiritual journey since that week, kind of getting like flooded with feedback from people. And also, I mean, miraculously, like this energy, this really strong energy from spirit world, which I haven't felt in a long time. And so it's like shaking up something in me and kind of pushing me to go further in this area and open up some space, even in my own heart and in the heart of others. So I think, even what I decided is that I feel like one of the best things we can do is start to really look at Mother's recent speeches and to really like digest them and discuss them. Because when Mother speaks, she does not speak a long time. Most of the time it fits on like one page, right? When you read Father's speeches, you've got a lot of content to get through to like really figure out what was he trying to focus on. But with Mother, it's short. And it's like almost every sentence has so much in it that we could really look at and digest. And so what we'll do for the next few weeks is read some of Mother's speeches. Christina, I'm sorry they're in English. You probably should lead this in Korean and translate it for but no pressure. But these are, the official released translated speeches from international headquarters. They take some time to really make sure it's a quality translation. And so we'll read those. I'll share some of my insights and we'll discuss together. And that's kind of going to be the format of today. And I did want to share that I told some of you, but last night I had this pretty intense dream. And in the dream, there were two very clear parts of it. But the first part of it was in the family fed realm, the HSA realm. And I was doing things like this, like sharing Mother's words and talking about Mother's words and giving a lot of time and energy to help people feel connected to what True Mother has been saying. And there was like such a warm, welcoming feeling, like a desperate longing of like, yeah, this is what we've been waiting for. This is what we need. Thank you so much. Like that kind of energy. And then halfway through the dream, it like completely switched. And it transitioned to, the sanctuary church realm. And that realm being so angry and upset with me to the point where they were chasing me, trying to attack me and to hurt me. And it was really intense. The ending scene of the dream is like, I'm in this room and they're like sucking out all the air from it. And I couldn't like breathe. And I literally woke up screaming out loud in my dream. And I haven't, had that kind of intense, scary dream in a long time. But I can usually tell when my dreams are like spirit world or Kele world, and there's a different feeling that comes afterwards. So that one was definitely coming more from some kind of spirit world that I was tapping into. And I think it just tells me how important this is, just making the space to study Mother's words and how it can clear up so much. In a lot of her recent speeches, she's been talking about the need to clear things up and to become crystal clear. And, any things from the past, we need to bring them to light and then just move on from them. We need to eradicate those things and move on from them. So I think this is all part of that. And I really feel, my last personal point here is I really feel I have this like image of young women in our movement kind of forming this vanguard around True Mother of just support and love and saying, True Mother, we understand you and we want to be here for you. in a way that maybe some of our male counterparts can't, right? They can't quite understand what it means to be true mother in the way that women can and daughters can. So I did send Dr. Kim was in True Mother in Las Vegas. For the last few days, she's, back home, or she's traveling back home. And I did send him this reflection of just how much Mother's words have meant to me lately and how I'd like to use this group to study Mother's words. He did share that with True Mother, so she knows about all of us and we're meeting together and really supporting her. So I think that's a really good starting point, right? That True Mother can really feel like we've got her back, which was the whole point of this. So let me try to find the speech. So actually, I've been doing a deep dive in Mother's speeches, and I'll always post them in the Facebook group afterwards if you want to study them more. I decided to just start with the ones from earlier this year, but I did start looking back December and November at her speeches, and all of those are really excellent to study too. There's so much there. So after we get up to date with her most recent speeches, we may go back to those too, but we shall see. So let me share my screen, and I'm going to read through it once, and then I will go through it a second time and just interject a little bit and add some thoughts, and then open it up to the group. So here we go. This is from February 6th. This is True Mother's message at I think it's more like the pledge service they had at the birthday celebration of True Parents. And she gave a very short message here. And here's a picture of her. These speeches can be found on the international website, which I can share too, where they post a lot of different resources there. So she says, "I'm pleased to see you. In welcoming this hope-filled and vibrant year of the Black Tiger, I pray that all of you will be able to sound trumpets of victory that heaven will remember. What if during the last year of the Black Tiger in 1962, True Parents' holy wedding had been held on the foundation of Christianity welcoming them? Since Jesus' crucifixion, the Christian cultural realm has been so passionately and earnestly awaiting the Messiah who had said he would return. With some final words, Jesus said he would come again, and then when he did, he would hold the marriage supper of the Lamb. Then who is it that Christians must wait for? Whom must they meet without fail? Who is it that must be reborn?" And this is the audience saying, True Parents. With the beginning of the year of the Black Tiger, I wondered how things would be if the truth about the birth of the only begotten daughter who was able to embrace Christianity had been revealed. God has worked so hard and waited so impatiently for 60 years. However, now the only begotten daughter, the true mother, the mother of peace, the mother of the universe, has proclaimed Chanobuk and declared that it is firmly established. On that foundation, at this time when we must reveal the conclusion of the providence to the Korean people and to the world, you must become magnets. The principle of a magnet that is one with True Parents. Wherever you work and wherever you go, there will always be righteous people for whom heaven has labored and that heaven has prepared for this one day. Be confident when you explain who you are. Do you understand? Due to your unity with True Parents, people will be drawn to you as if you are magnets. I bless all of you to become those who step forward courageously and confidently. Okay, so we're going to go back here a little bit, and I hope you can see it clear enough. So we'll read it one more time and I'll add some thoughts. So I'm pleased to see you. In welcoming this hope-filled and vibrant year of the Black Tiger, I pray that all of you will be able to sound trumpets of victory that heaven will remember. And I just want to point out that the Black Tiger is a big deal for a True Mother. If you've seen her speak recently, she keeps talking about this is the year of the Black Tiger. And, I encourage everybody to do a little research about what that means. But from what I've surmised in my basic research is that it's an energy, it's something that represents a very strong energy, a powerful energy, and, big change and impact can be made through this type of year. And of course, Mother is always saying things like sound trumpets of victory that heaven will remember. She's really looking to make a shift towards really making an impact so heaven can be proud of us. It's no longer like just limited to bringing victory on certain levels, but it's really that heaven can be proud of us. Over and over, I hear her saying, make heaven proud of you. This sentence is extremely important. I see it popping up more and more in the speeches that I'm looking at, and I want to dive into it a little bit. It says, what if during the last year of the Black Tiger in 1962, that was the last year that it was the Black Tiger year, which was right after True Parents were blessed. What if at that time True Parents' holy wedding had been held on the foundation of Christianity welcoming them? Now, this is something, not unusual that we've heard, that Christianity was supposed to receive True Parents, right? And that they should have been really welcomed at the time of their blessing. And that was the foundation that had been built for them to be able to be received by the world. And if that had happened, how much more quickly could the providence have been developed? And they wouldn't have had to go through, all the difficulty of being misunderstood and persecuted by the Christian realm, but also, the cultural realm and also the political realm. And if Christianity had backed them up, it would have been an easier road for them. And this is a prelude of what Mother talks about, not in this paragraph, but the next one. So just put a pin in that topic. Mother goes on, since Jesus's crucifixion, the Christian cultural realm has been so passionately and earnestly awaiting the Messiah who had said he would return. With some final words, Jesus said he would come again, and that when he did, he would hold the marriage supper of the Lamb. And this section is very important because she's differentiating between, the Christian perspective that Jesus coming again means, he's coming again as the Christ, the only begotten Son. But she's clearly here referencing the marriage supper of the Lamb, which we know as unificationist means the marriage blessing, the holy blessing of True Parents. And of course, this is stuff we fundamentally understand, as those of us who were raised in the church. This isn't completely new, but I think it's very important for us to pay attention to why she's saying this. Why is she bringing up the marriage supper of the Lamb in contrast to the expectation that Christianity has for the second coming of the Messiah? They are earnestly, passionately waiting for the Messiah, but it sounds like the Messiah is coming back in a way that's different than they expect. And so Mother asks the question, she brings up the marriage supper of the Lamb, and she asks the question, then who is it that Christians must wait for? Whom must they meet without fail? Who is it that must be born? She's asking them the question. And the natural response is True Parents, right? That's what the audience says. That might be the go-to answer. But I have a feeling that True Mother is hinting at something else, because in response to people saying True Parents, she goes in a little bit of a different direction. She says, with the beginning of the year of the Black Tiger, I wondered how things would be if the truth about the birth of the only begotten daughter who was able to embrace Christianity had been revealed. And of course, this is my inferring, this is my personal opinion, but it's quite interesting to juxtapose the answer of the audience to how Mother answers it. Yes, it is True Parents, but she's specifically talking about the only begotten daughter who, this is important too, who was able to embrace Christianity. And she's answering the question, who is it that Christians must wait for? Who must they meet without fail? Who is it that must be born? Mother is answering this. She says that it should have been the birth of the only begotten daughter. Now, we need True Parents as a whole. I'm not saying anything outside of that, but I think the role of the mother figure, the only begotten daughter figure, is different than that of the father figure. I think, this sentence here, who was able to embrace Christianity, that's a very motherly type energy, right? What I notice with Mother's leadership is she is very desperate to make a way for everybody, to make, the gate as wide as possible so everybody can walk towards heaven and walk towards Heavenly Parent. This is a mother's way. A father's way might be more, clear standards and clear education and clear processes and things like that, which we need. We need all of the discipline. And it's not that mothers can't do that. I certainly discipline my own children. But I think it's important to understand the energy of True Mother and of motherhood in general, of how they would embrace Christianity. A lot of our content, that was misunderstood by Christianity was misunderstood because it came across very harsh, right? When I was growing up, I was unfortunately taught the idea that Jesus didn't fully complete his mission. That was the understanding I had. And it was only through, working in ACLC and YCLC and that realm that I realized how wrong I was about that understanding, that actually Jesus, fulfilled his mission. It was the people who couldn't accept him. So that changed my heart, right? That changed my whole understanding of that situation. But because we had that kind of undertone to a lot of what we were teaching, or certain lecturers would express it in a certain way, then that really would block something for Christians, right? Jesus, if you meet Christians, there's such a deep, profound love for Jesus. And if you say anything that is different from that, it's like, no, that's totally wrong. I don't want anything to do with that. So I think there is another way of approaching Christianity, which is more from the embracing realm, more from the motherly realm. And I think that's what Mother is hinting at here, that if the only begotten daughter who was able to embrace Christianity had been brought forward to the forefront of the providence, then it would have been received differently. And we see that now when we look at WCLC and we look at all of the different rallies that are happening, and we see there's a different energy there, right? There is an embracing, wholehearted, one team, one family energy about them. And of course, that's built on the foundation of True Father and everything that he did and the course that he walked. And all of that is essential, but you can definitely tell there's a different motherly spirit. Even men respond differently to the motherly spirit, right? There's a different heart that comes out. There's a different softness. There's a different response that comes out to a true motherly energy. And I think that's what she's hinting at here. So going on, she says, God has worked so hard and waited so impatiently for 60 years. So she's saying 60 years since that time, since 1962. That was the last time that it was the year of the Black Tiger. That God has been working so hard and waited so impatiently for 60 years. What is God waiting for so impatiently for 60 years? True parents came, they were blessed, they've been working, they've been doing the providence, but God is still waiting for something during that time. However, now the only begotten daughter, the true mother, the mother of peace, the mother of the universe, has proclaimed Chanoguk and declared that it is firmly established. I mean, it's quite interesting to see the many different names of True Mother mentioned here. If we couldn't be more clear who we're talking about, then what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 different references to who we're talking about here. So it's clearly Mother is saying that God has been waiting for the only begotten daughter, the true mother, the mother of peace, the mother of the universe. And it's Mother who, proclaimed that Chanoguk has been firmly established. I remember in Korea when it happened, maybe some of you were there, Mother was lifted up on this weird pedestal in the middle of the stage, and she had her gown and her scepter, and she said, I firmly established Chanoguk, and they turned her around on the thing. I just remember feeling oh gosh, that's so uncomfortable. But, of course, I'm not sure Mother loves those kinds of things, but it's important that she does it, right? It's important that she stands in that position, she makes that offering, and that we do internally and externally lift her up to welcome in that change and that era. And so on that foundation, at this time, when we must reveal the conclusion of the providence to the Korean people and to the world, you must become magnets. So she's talking about this era. This is the conclusion of the providence. There's something really significant happening in this time, the providence. And as we go on to read other speeches you'll see Mother is talking about how, all of the world's religions have kind of come to their final point. This is the point with which they were developed and created for. This is the time that they should get off their current train and get on the new train, basically. And then she talks about magnets, which I love. And so she's outlining the principle of a magnet that is one with true parents, that wherever you work and wherever you go, there will always be righteous people for whom heaven has labored and that heaven has prepared for this day. And, this is something Mother's been talking about for quite a while. And I know probably many of you are like me, where you believe that and you know that, but there's a little bit of resistance to, how do I interact with those people? Do I want to go out of my way to witness and to outreach? And, I had an experience 3 days ago. I'm signing my son up for speech therapy. And so I went to the school system to meet with the counselor. And I told them I was still kind of jet lagged from Korea. And they were like, what were you doing in Korea? And I told them very simply about the NGO I work for and the reunification of the Korean Peninsula. And this man and this woman just like stopped in their tracks. And they were like, this is the most inspiring thing I've heard in such a long time. And I was like, really? It sounds, this is just my work. And we do a lot of webinars and stuff like that. But, they literally said, that gave me so much hope. You have given me so much hope for this week. They asked me for my card. They've friended me on LinkedIn, and, they're so inspired by it. And these are people who work, they're teachers, they're speech pathologists, they work in the special ed area. So it's not a particularly interesting area for them, but somehow it stirred something in their original hearts and their original minds. And so it was I was studying this speech at the time. It was kind of a slap in my face, like, yeah, there are really prepared people always, if I can lead forward with, true parents in mind and true mother in mind. So she says, be confident when you explain who you are. Do you understand? I notice she says this in the speeches because I feel like she feels that the audience doesn't actually understand what she's saying. And she's looking for a give and take and real actualization of what she's saying. So be confident when you explain who you are. Due to your unity with true parents, people will be drawn to you as if you are magnets. I bless all of you to become those who step forward courageously and confidently. So Mother, this is a real motherly spirit that comes across often. And it's the challenge, right? It's saying you need to be confident, you need to go forward and be a magnet for true parents, bring people towards you. But I bless you to become those people. Do it courageously and confidently. She's not telling us that, we're going to fail, or if we don't do this, or that we're going to, not go to a good place in the spirit world if we don't do this. There's no threat. There's no harsh energy, but it's this very loving, motherly energy that's pushing us forward. And I think the way I respond to that is very differently, right? I feel there's a spark inside me that starts to shine a little bit brighter because I'm giving permission and courage and support, not in a way where I feel like this is what I absolutely must do, or I'm a bad person, or, I'm letting down God and true parents. Not that kind of energy, but it's the energy that says, I trust you. She often says that, I trust you, I love you, I believe in you. And that creates a different accountability for me, right? It creates this really parental experience of filial piety. It entices my filial piety to respond to true mother because of that. So those are my insights. I'm going to put this document in the chat, and I just want to open it up to anybody else who would like to share their own thoughts about this, or any other thoughts that might be coming up, or your reflections or personal experiences that you might have. Feel free to share.